If you are a student or interested in the many shamanic and healing traditions, astrology, science, every structure system views right now as a moment on the planet of huge change. And among the ones that really fine-tune it, the Mayan folks, the folks in India, astrologers, they say that 2012, right now, between now and the end of this year, we're at very accelerated moments where astrology and old karmic patterns are really cooking. Anybody noticed? Which is, on the one hand, a little challenging, and yet, on the other hand, it's also really, really powerful and refreshing. What my hope for this few days is to really provide a space for each of us in our own ways to welcome those structures from the old season that are linear and ready to dissolve, to open. Most people's perception is centered around contracting. So they experience something, they build a reference on it. Then they go on, they build another reference, and they collect an ego, a personality, based on all the impressions that have happened in that line. What I'm suggesting is doing the opposite, saying, well, let's flip that around, and all those impressions, when they start popping up, great, thank you, that's beautiful, thank you. Welcoming things is a powerful principle. I cannot say this, it's one of the most powerful things I've ever seen.
And I could feel this gentle subtleness emanate out and interface with the still point. And it was just absolutely beautiful, and I've been in bliss probably since the first half hour of the meeting, and I don't know how long we went. It could have gone on for hours more, because the now was so expansive and so real, and the potential of this in my practice, but also introducing it to people so they can incorporate it into their life. It's like, how can we increase everybody's field? How can we increase their awareness? How can we get them into living in a quantum field?
One of the things that I learned in the orientation, the very first time when we were here, was being able to learn how to welcome something that otherwise I would chafe against or find uncomfortable. That I can welcome that I can embrace that, and then move past that. So I've always found ways to get around something or over it or under it, but I've never really approached it, welcomed it, and then let it dissolve. You know, I really enjoy. It's the first time I actually have met Paul, but seen him on the website, of course. But I'm really enjoying the person that he is, that he's chosen to be. Because I know that his life is a journey, and he's embraced a lot of the concepts that he's learned along the way, the wisdom that he's accumulated. So we all get to share that, and I'm grateful for his being willing to share that with us.
I like his energy and his message out there as far as still point, and experiencing that status of meditation, I guess you could say, in a way, and connecting and kind of like grounding myself and getting rid of negative connections that are to me.
What's going to happen, what can happen, is that the things that preoccupy our normal reference, those things are going to start to cook a little bit. Because we're really opening up here into neutrality. We're inviting neutrality and saying, come neutrality, come. And so those things that normally in the world keep people in the reference of the world like popcorn. We're inviting those things. We call it cooking. And so we want to welcome whatever comes up, everything that comes up in the course of the next 2 or 3 days. Welcome. And we'll cover this tomorrow morning. Using our perception to welcome what comes up. Whatever it is, whether it's some emotion, whether it's some injury, whether it's some part of the brain that says, cynicism, and this is that nonsense, or all of these things are diversions away from neutrality. At least from my perspective. I don't want to say any definitive things. From my perspective, they're diversions. I often use the analogy of the game, someone with emotion and judgment and cynicism. If it's happening in here, it's probably happening out there in your life everywhere else. What happens so often with people is they get close to really opening in neutrality. And the brain, like that whack game, it whacks you that back down. And so in the course of the next couple of days, welcome things. Whatever's going on, welcome.